Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. This video we are going to discuss about the runbook, RPA runbook. How it, what is the purpose of runbook? So why and when we need runbook? When we talk about runbook is the most important part for any software development lifecycle. So I will give some example for you. Now you are working in Blue Prism. How you are starting Blue Prism? You are installing Blue Prism application, in, installing your Blue Prism DLL and your EXEs for the particular version, for example version 6.0. Then you are moving into the login agent EXE. So in your process, that login agent is very important. So you are moving login agent.exe to install in your system. So your Blue Prism has been installed, exe and login agent installed. The third one, your automation process need for email input and output. So you're installing your map.ix exe. So once your installation has been completed, now you are starting your development. So once your development started, so you are created some work queues. Think through that your development has completed. Now you are moving to testing and UAT some of the process. So in that case, you are created some work queues, you are created some trigger process, you are created some email process. So all the things you are and login agent and user mappings and user alert and configurations configurations like global timeout or else some other configurations in your process. So these all the things you have to make sure to mention in your runbook in for deployment. So runbook specifically work for deployment. So when you talk about deployment, deployment is not all about it's only moving to production. If you are moving from development to testing, that is the environment deployment. Then SIT to UAT, that is kind of deployment. Then UAT to production kind of deployment. Then production to go live, that is kind of deployment. So most of the deployments we need to give the runbook. The runbook is help the deployment process. It will help our see for these all the details I can't remember. I can't tell directly to the when the deployment. So I created runbook. So I started Blue Prism installation. So I have to mention on it. So I'm creating some. I'm using login agent. So everything. So I created some work queues, triggering and user alert. Everything I has to mention on it. So the same configuration settings will be available in other environments which I am moving into environments. So it's like simple, each and everything whatever you are doing in your development area, you have to be document each and everything. Once it is completed, the documentation has to be moved into other areas in the name of runbook. That's simple. So here you can see uh, initially or revision, what is the date you are done that runbook, and what is the version of revision, and who is author. Suppose you are the author, then for example, and description. This is the runbook for VAT moment. So I mention on it. So I have to mention date. Here you can see. So what are all the target application you are used? For example, the runbook first contains the introduction to the process, how the process is will work. So what are all the components of this process? For example, this will provide high level information of Grover automation, which is like scheduling, triggering, and work use, etc. So, some introduction to the process and target applications. So, for example, MS Word, MS Excel. So, maybe you are using Word, Excel, or else your login agent EXEs. So, whatever it is, target applications you are using in your system, and what are all the your process attempting to target to the other systems. For example, this Grover automation is attempting to one more third party tool, that is web application, that is Olympus. So I mentioned here, this is the web application, this is the version I need. This is the word option, I need the version. So if this version is not available in the other systems, so here I'm using MapEX, I need 32-bit. It will not work in 64-bit. So probably I have to mention Outlook as well 32-bit. So I have to mention the target application and scheduling and triggering. So when we talk about scheduling, how many times the schedule has to be run in other environment. For example, in UAT, how much or how many times the schedule has to run. Maybe some schedule has to run every 30 minutes, some schedule has to run 12 hours once. So that type of scheduling you have to mention. And what is the prerequisite of the automation? See, before you starting your automation, what is the prerequisite? Installation of each EXE and DLLs, and your target applications, and your target application must be in running position, and you have to configure your user ID and password into your Blue Prism application, and if it is some SSN number or account number, whatever you have to configure on it, and user alert. So these are the prerequisite you have to mention in your section of prerequisite. And what is the output? Suppose your automation has been completed, your work has been done. If it is done, what is the output? Some automation has been email has to send with the report. I have we have some automation that email has to send to client, to the client DL groups, and as well as the attached report. This is the report So we are extracting some details from web application and we are sending into client. So some type of our outputs and configurations before the prerequisite configuration is one of the prerequisites you have to do on it, and what type, how many work queues were created, what are the tags were created, the same types in here to mention in your target system. And finally you have to mention troubleshooting steps here. Your Sorry, one more thing I have to mention here, your prerequisite may be SQL server or else other servers that you have mentioned on it. Finally, you have to come up with the troubleshooting steps. So, if any error occurred in the environment, what are the steps you want to troubleshoot? Suppose blueprism.exe has stopped. So, what is the troubleshooting steps you can give solution? So, that steps you have to mention on it. So, you have to mention the step one, stop the if exe has been stopped, then probably stop the process and again restart manually. So these kind of steps you have to mention in troubleshooting steps. And troubleshooting is whatever you had faced in your development area. So you are mentioned this area I was faced. This may be happen or may not be happen in other environments. If it is happen, what is the option I had provided for troubleshooting? For example, sometimes you will get the message like Blue Prism object has been full. Object memory has been full. So in that case, what we will do is we will delete the entire memory of the LDF files and configure into one more time. So LDF files in database. So admin will defaultly, so every 30 days, admin will defaultly delete all the caches, which means all the memory caches, all the DB caches has to be deleted in every 30 days. So this is one of the prerequisite. So all the prerequisite you have to mention in your runbook, which is moving to other environment. Thanks guys, thanks for watching this. So we can learn some new things in our next video.